So Jesus tells the lepers, go show yourself to the priests. And he hasn't done anything yet. Jesus is invoking the law that's written in the book of Leviticus. You see, in the ancient culture there, when somebody was stricken with a disease that could be caught or passed along and endangered the community, those persons were set outside of the community. That you have to be outside of the community until you are healed, lest you transmit the disease to other people, and it spelled doom for our whole community. That's why the lepers call out to Jesus from a distance. They don't approach him, he doesn't approach them. Lord, Master, save us, help us, give us what we need. And he says, go show yourself to the priests. The law that he's invoking is the law after you have been healed. So once you have your skin malady has cleared up, or the disease has disappeared, and it appears that you have nothing wrong with you, then the person was supposed to go to the priest for verification. See, I'm clean. See, I'm pure once again. And then offerings for reparation would be offered then. So when Jesus is telling these guys, go show yourself to the priest, and they're not yet healed, they've got to be feeling a little, what's going on here? Because they're looking at themselves and they're saying, but I still see the skin issues, the disease, whatever. And if I go show myself to the priest, look, I'm cured, he's going to look at me like I'm crazy. And yet they go. It takes a great deal of faith, I think, to hear those words of Jesus and to assume that something is going to happen. They go. And in fact, when the one comes back, Jesus says to him, as he says to most of the people that is healed, your faith has saved you. It was your faith that opened you up to allow this to happen. You believed that what you couldn't see, that what you didn't experience, that wasn't yet visible, was somehow already taking place. And that's the key. It's already in process. I think in our own spiritual life, that's a perfect metaphor. Because there are many times when you and I have prayed for someone, maybe prayed for something in our own lives, prayed for a certain kind of healing, or a certain kind of insight, or maybe some conversion to happen, or whatever. We've prayed and haven't seen the fruit of that prayer. What's going on? Well, this is going on. This that Jesus describes today. This parable of the 10, or this encounter with the 10 lepers. That probably one of the greatest things that helped me in my spiritual life and in my prayer life is the understanding that if I'm praying for something that's really good, for someone's good, if I'm praying for someone or for some spiritual gift, the reason I'm praying for it is because God has already answered the prayer. That God has inspired me in some way to offer that prayer. He's stirred something up in me to intercede for someone else, to pray for someone else, or to ask for some gift in my own life. That if God has stirred that up in me, I have to know that He's already begun to answer that prayer. He's already preceded me. Nothing comes from me. Anything that's good that I come up with, God has somehow planted that within me. He's always the first mover. He's always preceding us. He's always coming behind us. He's always at work in the middle of wherever we are. God is over and around and through all. And so I have to know that if I've been inspired to pray for something, God is already beginning to unfold that in my life. And He desires me to participate with that. He desires me to open up in faith so that it might flow more freely. That our faith is, God knows better than we do. I have no doubt that I have never said something to God and He has stepped back and said, Father Jeff, that is amazing. I didn't think about that. I think I should maybe do that. There's nothing I'm going to be able to tell God that he doesn't already know. In fact, when I come up with something good, that is God at work in me. And that's why we share our prayers then. And still, I may not see the full fruition of that. Or I may not see it quite the way I thought was going to be best. But if I'm praying for someone's healing, and I'm noticing I don't see them being healed, perhaps God is giving the healing they need to go through whatever they are going through. The strength, the courage, the consolation, that there is healing that is happening, even if it is beyond my capacity to understand. There is grace that is moving. God is doing something. He's wrapped us in his arms. He's got us in his arms. He loves us so much that he is providing for what we need. And this leper who goes away and recognizes that he has been cured. And that line always jumps out at me as I hear this gospel, that the one recognizing that he has been cured goes back to offer thanks. I have to ask myself, did the other 9 even know they were cured? Did the other 9 even recognize that they were cured when they were sent away by Jesus? I don't know. We're left with that open question. But the one for sure recognized. And when that hit him, wow, it was like a ton of bricks. And he realized, I can't live my life the same anymore. I have to go back to the one who healed me. I think that's why Jesus comes to the poor, and he comes to the sick, and he comes to the needy, and he comes to those who can't stand on their own 2 feet all the time. He comes to them, because those are the ones that are most open to receiving his help. Those are the ones that are ready to rely on him. And that's why we have to always, as Christians, begin recognizing that we are sinners, and that we are in need of healing, and that we are broken in some way, and there is something in my life that needs God's work in it. Something in my life needs God to be doing his healing and his grace-filled activity in me. And then when I become aware of that, then I realize everything comes from God, and my life is different because of that. Because God so loves me, he perceives me and follows me and fills me, that because my life is surrounded by God, I am changed. And my life is different. Naaman, the Syrian, a foreigner, he is brought to Israel for some reason. And now that he's in Israel, he recognizes that he needs healing. And so he goes to the prophet and he says, I hear there's a God of healing here. I want to be healed. And the prophet tells him to go wash in the Jordan River. And Naaman is all upset because the Jordan River is a dirty little mud hole, and he could have bathed in the fresh rivers of his own country. But they talk him into it anyway, and he gets healed. And as soon as that happens, he knows he cannot live his old life again. And so that's why he asks for the dirt. I need 2 mule loads of your earth, because I'm going to take a little bit of Israel with me, back to my foreign country. And I'm going to lay it out so that whenever I come to pray to God, I will go to Israel. I will go stand on the ground of Israel, and I will pray to the God of Israel. My life is different. I can't approach God the way I used to. I have to approach him this way now. St. Paul talks about the same thing in his letter today, that my life is so changed. You know what God did for me. Oh my gosh, my life was horrible, and now it's different. And that's how I can suffer. And that's how I can spend everything I have for the gospel, because my life is different. This movement of gratitude that wells up in our hearts, that says, God, I know you've already given me what I need. Thank you. Help me to see it better. Help me to practice it better. Help me to go forward better. But I know you're already at work in my life. That should move us. God's already answered your prayer. He's already heard you. In fact, he inspired you to make that prayer that you have. This is why it always troubles me a little bit. If someone comes to church and says, gosh, I just don't get anything out of Mass. part of me wants to respond, so? The Mass isn't here to get anything out of. I mean, I think that's where sometimes we have this desire to have like bands with all kinds of instruments and maybe big preachers or all kinds of flashy things. And when we say I didn't get anything out of Mass, I think it means I wasn't entertained. I wasn't moved in my senses. Why didn't you entertain me? We don't come here to be entertained. We come here to give our thanksgiving. We are here to give God thanksgiving. We're not here to receive anything. We are here to give our thanksgiving because God has already given us what we need. He has already worked His grace in our lives. He has already saved us. He has already filled us. And so when we say, I don't get anything, we're like those 9 that are unaware of what God has already done. But when we recognize God at work in our lives, then we come to be thankful. We come to be grateful. And here's the kicker, that even though we expect nothing, and we're giving our thanksgiving, God nevertheless gives us more than we could have hoped for. He gives us the flesh and blood of His Son. He gives us everything we need for salvation. He makes us His adopted children. He gives us a place in heaven. He has satisfied every need we could possibly want and then some. His giftedness to us is so great. And so with Naaman and with the leper and with St. Paul, we come here in gratitude. That's why we call it Eucharist, a word that literally means thanksgiving. We come here to be thankful. God, before I even knew what I wanted or needed, you gave it to me. Thank you. And help me now to participate with you so that I can be a blessing to others. As we go forth from this altar today, then we carry the great gift of God that He gives us, this great gift of salvation. And we proclaim it to those who have not met this God, that my life is different because God has touched my life. And I am so grateful. He has given us more than we could ever want. Jesus sends those lepers away before even healing them because He's already begun the process of healing before they ever knew it. So it is with us. God has already begun giving us the gifts we need before we even knew or know what to ask for in the beginning.